All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. And it is the final episode of the semester. Wow, this has gone by quick, guys. This has gone by quick. Thank you guys for being here. It's Gabe again and Darren. So, this is our last episode of the semester. Uh, we're going to be gone for a while, so we're going to miss a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. If you know in the football world, particularly the Premier League, the Christmas time is a special time of year for football in general. I mean, you got Boxing Day fixtures. They jam pack a lot of Premier League games into this period of time. It's really exciting and lots of fun. But we still do have a good amount of stuff to talk about. We missed a week for Thanksgiving, so we got a good few things to go about and mention between the Premier League, even Champions League, La Liga, lots of different stuff like that. But let's start off with La Liga. We don't talk too much about La Liga, but we do have two La Liga experts to the left and right of me somehow. But yeah,
Experts is a generous term.
oh yeah, especially when it comes to you. But Athletic Bilbao, right on my right, and Barcelona on my left, those two did play. And what was the result?
4-0.
Yeah, it was definitely not one of our better games. We did
As
not
usual.
play very good.
As usual.
Unai Simon specifically had a really bad game.
Sorry,
He
man.
basically gave up like 2 or 3 goals, which he should have saved.
No, just 2.
Just 2 then. But even still, the first 2 goals, he got hands or feet on both shots, and somehow they still just creep past him. That was a terrible game from him, quite frankly.
Didn't the Sharks score?
The Shark
Ferran
did score. He
that-
scored twice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
be
both
wrong.
goals.
Nah, that was. I said this on the show because I don't think you were there when we talked about the
I
game coming
unfortunately
up.
was not.
And I said, they're going to lose. And they're going to lose pretty badly because every single time Bilbao plays in a game I watch, they are horrible. So, yeah, they continue tradition. I really respect their consistency with being really, really bad in these big games. So,
Yep.
fair play to you guys. And honestly, Nico Williams can continue to do nothing until he plays England because I really do appreciate him scoring against England in Euro finals.
He actually
Besides
did.
that-
He actually did just get goal of the month for this month for his goal against Oviedo.
Is it a chip?
No, it's not the chip one. Although that one was weird.
Oh, was it,
It
with
was
his
the
left?
one where he dribbles in from the left side, cuts in, and then sends it top left corner.
Okay.
Dribbles through a few people as well.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, Nico Williams' talent. He's not as good as Gabe exaggerates him to be, but yeah, he's a talented player, and he just needs to probably be a bit more consistent. And he shouldn't have turned down Barcelona, but
God,
yeah,
I gave his team the benefit of the doubt. I said my prediction would be 4-1, but they ended up scoring none, so they're kind of bad. But yeah, Nico Williams shouldn't have rejected Barcelona. He got locked down by an out-of-form Koundé, which says all that you need to know. And just shouldn't have denied Barcelona, but allegedly Real Madrid's interested in him now. How they make that work, I
What?
don't know. But here we are.
the main thing is that this was also, I believe, his first game back off of injury, although I could be mistaken with that. But even still, he did not play a good game against Barcelona. And our arguably best attacking player in the season, Oyhan Sanset, got sent off for a red card, which I think was a little bit harsh. It was definitely a yellow. I don't know necessarily if it was a red. The main reasoning that they gave was that it was overly reckless, which I can't really argue with. But with being down a man and with the players that we were playing, I don't hate how they played. It was just Barcelona's the better team. It was at the Camp Nou's opening. You can't really, you're not going to be able to beat a Barcelona team like that in their brand new stadium with the firepower that they have.
he's laughing through the tears, guys.
Yeah.
Laughing through the tears. But yeah, no, it's a good win for Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona's starting to get players back. They've finally been able to play in the Camp Nou. And honestly, the stadium does need some stuff to be done, but it just does feel good. I'm looking around at the stadium during the games, and it feels like the old Camp Nou. Obviously, it's renovated. Obviously, it's new infrastructure, but I still kind of get the vibe of it. I don't know. I don't know about you. You're a Barcelona fan, so what's your thoughts on the stadium so far?
Which is actually have like the fans packed in the stadium again. It builds a certain atmosphere that we didn't have in our I forgot the stadium name.
Johan
Montjuic.
Cruyff
No,
or
there you
Johan
go.
Gemper.
Estadio Olympic Montjuic, however you say it,
Yeah.
but it just builds a certain atmosphere. The players feel backed and just creates confidence that we lacked in certain home games, and just glad to be back.
Yeah, no, I mean, has been one of the most special stadiums in football history for a long time, the Camp Nou. and hopefully it can get fully built again. I know they're going to do something, not a roof like Real Madrid, but kind of like a covering. And the overall stadium designs when it was first announced looked really, really nice. So yeah, I definitely prefer it to the new Bernabeu. I think the new Bernabeu is pretty ugly, if I'm being fully honest. Not just to hate on Madrid, but yeah, I do not like the look of it. I think it's kind of weird. But they'll close the roof, and 90 minutes in the Bernabeu is a long time. So yeah, speaking of Real Madrid, they drew this weekend, right? Mbappe got penalty. Mbappe's been the only real bright light currently. Well, not the only one, but by far the main bright light for Real Madrid. And there's a lot of controversy going on. I mean, Vinicius Jr. being one of the main points about it, and Xabi Alonso. I mean, they're doing well. They've what are they, second in La Liga?
Yeah.
They're not doing amazing, and Xabi Alonso's already a bit under pressure.
I think what the pressure is mainly coming with him pretty much doing what an England team would do and trying to force too many stars into one team. Like Jude Bellingham came back, they put him back in for the El Clasico, and then their form has fallen off a cliff because they're forcing Arda Güler now to play in the pivot, which is just not his position at all. And it's all hitting them now. And just Real Madrid fans are outraged. Allegedly, Alonso's lost the dressing room, and
yeah.
it's not looking good for them. But I'm pretty sure they just won today. I think they played at 12, so they're back in second. They were in third after the Atleti one, but
Okay.
they're back in second now, and Barca's back on top. So we love to see it.
Madrid is also currently beating Athletic Bilbao 3-0 with a brace from Killian Mbappe. So Mbappe has
Love
continued
that.
to be the player that he is, which
And
is a 20-goal plus per
How
season.
how
player.
ironic that right when I say Bilbao, every single game that I pay attention to them, they always get destroyed by any sort of good team.
Well,
What a
this
surprise.
team,
Yeah.
this time we actually did have backup fullbacks in and our defensive midfielder playing as the 10. So I'm not going to hate too much, especially because it is Madrid
There's
at the
always an
Bernabeu.
excuse.
But again, it is what it is.
There's always an excuse. Madrid have looked kind of shaky. Who'd they draw to? Alaves? Leganes?
No, it was.
I can't remember.
I can't
off the top
remember
of
off the
my
top of
head.
my head.
Either way, it's not a special side. I mean, you'd expect Bilbao to be better than the team they drew to. So I don't buy all these excuses
Yeah.
from you. But moving back on, we got the Premier League. We got a week or two of fixtures and a lot of interesting stuff to talk about because we've had some great games. We've had some fantastic games. I mean, we have, I think, 2 weekends worth of Premier League fixtures to talk about. And then we also have the games that were played yesterday and some of them going on today too. We're getting jam-packed, lots of stuff to talk about. And honestly, we could go back 2 weeks. We're not going to go a full rundown of all those games because it was a while ago, but we'll mention it a bit, such as Liverpool, who got well beaten by Nottingham Forest, Sean Dyche. Absolute proper Brexit Giza with some great football there. Winning 3-0 away from home is a great result. Tying it into what happened recently, Liverpool did manage to win, kind of break that bad run of form in the Premier League by beating West Ham, with Isak scoring his first goal of the Premier League season. Congratulations to him. I think now he has finally scored more goals in the Premier League than I have this season. So
He finally got acclimated to the league.
yeah, I mean, the league he was already in. But yeah, Liverpool, I think that one win at West Ham, they won 2-0. Gakpo also scored. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the thing that starts a huge run of form. I just think they're going to be a team that maybe finishes like 5th or 6th this season. I think they'll eventually pick up form, but I don't think they're going to get in the top 4. If I had to say mine, I think it's going to be Arsenal, City, Chelsea, and Villa's been on great form. So I don't even know, but we'll see. We'll see. That's why I'd say might be my top 4 at the moment. And I think that's what it is currently in the Premier League table, if we're looking at the actual
Pretty sure.
way it's going. So, yeah, Liverpool, they're kind of struggling at the moment, even with that win. And we'll see. I think they play today. If not, they play very soon. So, will they pick up form? Get a couple wins going. Mo Salah will be going off to the AFCON, African Cup of Nations, soon. So, it's an interesting time period for them. How will all of their new signings finally be able to fit in? We'll see. But who really knows?
Well, that's where it goes off because Slot dropped Salah this weekend and they finally won. So
Yeah.
maybe it's time to start dropping Salah to see to Liverpool like progress. It's
Mm,
just, I think it's that time. Like I said, it's perfect time to experiment, especially with him going to AFCON, like you said.
yeah, we
See
will
if they can
see.
get Federico Chiesa some minutes finally.
Yeah, I mean, without Salah, they can play a different style of football and formation because they have a lot of attacking talent, being the strikers that they signed over the summer, Isak and Ekitike. Will they try and get both of those into a starting lineup? We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of possibilities with Liverpool, but there's a lot of solutions, and they got to see which one works. So that's Liverpool. We could talk about Arsenal, who the weekend before, I don't remember exactly who they beat. I think it could have been Leeds. I'm not sure, but I know they definitely won. And then over the weekend, they played against Chelsea. And what a game that was. I think Chelsea definitely would have won the game if Caicedo didn't get sent off.
Yeah.
It was quite the crazy tackle. I mean, he could have badly injured Mikel Marino. But yeah, Chelsea were looking dominant, and even with only 10 men, which congratulations, Chelsea, you guys have done it again. You've got another red card. It has been a minute. We have been very disappointed, Chelsea. We've been missing out on these red cards. You know, you used to bring us a red card at least once a week. Good on you. But why did you have to do it this week?
Yeah.
Like, you could have done it against any other team. Why against Arsenal? But that's just kind of how it goes. For Arsenal, I think they'll be the team that wins the Premier League. When you're a team that goes on to win a league, you do have some luck. You do have some favorable things going your way. And things just always seem to kind of be working right. And with some injuries, such as William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, they had to play two new center backs, being Mascara and Hincapié, who I don't think they've ever played together. So it's a new center back partnership. And you could tell that it wasn't Arsenal, the Arsenal team with a superstar defense, the Arsenal team with almost record-breaking defensive accolades from this season. You could tell because Chelsea, they took the game to them. They had lots of energy. I think Reece James put in one of the best performances I've seen from a right back, considering he played in midfield. People were like, why is Reece James? He's incredible at going up and down the pitch. He's a great overlapping fullback. Why are you playing him in midfield? Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's just the physicality, that intensity. He was incredible. He really, really was incredible at that game. The only problem is the injuries. He'll probably be back on a hospital bed in a couple of weeks. That's the shame. But yeah, Reece James, what a performance. Arsenal conceding from a corner. That's why I call irony. And then Mikel Marino scored from a great cross. I mean, my dad said it himself, that's perfect delivery, right in the zone where you want it from Saka. But it's his first assist in a year, which, I mean, when you think of Bukayo Saka, you think of incredible consistency, high level performances. But I mean, you don't hear much about him not really getting goals and assists, because one assist in an entire year, kind of crazy, kind of crazy. I don't think anyone really expected that.
I don't think that he's really been up to par ever since his injury last season. Like, he's still catching up match fitness.
He's been in and out.
Speed.
He's been picking up injuries and stuff.
Exactly. Like the beginning of the year, I don't know how many games he played, but I know he got pretty much injured instantly, and then Madueke stepped into the starting lineup. And it's just, he'll find his consistency again. He's too good of a player not to. And it's just great delivery. Hopefully this is the start.
I mean,
And not hopefully, because we don't like Arsenal to win the league, but maybe this is the start of a good run of form for Saka.
Yeah, I mean, he played good in that Bayern Munich game. Just quickly touching on the Champions League, we had some great games in the Champions League a week ago. Yeah, a week ago. It wasn't a week ago?
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't a good game for us.
Well, yeah. Bayern Munich losing to Arsenal. That was quite the game. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich lost. But even the goal Bayern scored, it was an incredible goal. But yeah, Arsenal, they're dangerous, man. They got physicality, they got intensity. And ironically, that's what Chelsea showed to them when Chelsea were able to get a point against them. So it's going to be a long season. There's many twists and turns. And the thing with Arsenal is it's a whole different ball game once it gets to April, even late March, May, because that's when the pressure starts to kick on. And maybe they'll be within 12, like a 10-point gap, or like an 8 or 9-point gap. And everyone will be like, oh, it's already over. And then you don't really have to deal with that pressure. But if it's a 4-point gap, a 5-point gap, and it's still possible, that's when the pressure kicks on. And Arsenal have never proven that they can deal with the pressure and win a Premier League in recent times. Last time they won a Premier League, Gabe wasn't even born. So it's going to be a long time, but the drought could finally end. It should end. I do think the Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League. We'll talk about Man City in a bit, the team I support. But yeah, Arsenal show more consistency. And when you have they say defense wins championships. They do say that. And if that's true, Arsenal will be the team that wins the Premier League this year. So we will see. But yeah, talking about Chelsea as well. Chelsea, they've been pretty good in big games. I mean, they played Barcelona. They won very easily. Speaking of red cards, Araujo with absolutely insane tackle. I don't know why he did that.
That was a proper pro clubs tackle. You love to see that. Said hopefully one of Dylan or Adrian is watching to know what we are talking about. But Araujo said, "I am a head out." He got sent off, and now he's asked for a leave of absence. We do not know how long, but we are now down to, I think, 3 center backs now.
Honestly, if I get a job and I can, let's say I work somewhere and I'm supposed to do a certain thing, like I'm dealing with financials or something, and I'm not working investment, but let's say someone's an investment banker and they tell someone, "Oh, spend $250,000 on this stock, put all of your money in." Let's say the guy puts all of his money in, comes out with no money, and then he goes to speak to him. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta take a mental health break because I messed up." Like, no offense, Araujo, but come on. Those type of moments, when you make a big mistake like that, that's when you show character. That's when you show perseverance. You
Yep.
make up for your mistakes. You go and put a great performance in the next game. And I mean, Araujo, he's just not having a good time in recent years at Barcelona. That PSG mistake a couple of years ago has really left an effect on him. So
Even with players like Harry Maguire, who had their captaincy stripped from them when they played when he played for Man U,
he still does.
you know what I meant. Basically, you will see players that get criticized online all the time to the extent that Araujo did. And you would see players essentially just fight through it, not say a word, and just continue to focus on getting better, which is something that Harry Maguire did. Whereas Araujo has taken the mental health leave, which hopefully he is doing a little bit better, even if it is incrementally, because mental health is nothing to kind of joke around with.
Of course.
But for a player of that stature, that's kind of inexcusable, truthfully speaking, especially
really
for
is.
how troubled Barcelona is for depth at center back. This is like one of the worst times for that to have happened.
I mean, the red card in itself, he got a yellow card quickly for talking to the ref. I mean, that's fine. But the best players, they always play differently on a yellow. They always use their brains. They know they can't do anything stupid. And within a couple of minutes, Araujo goes flying in, slide tackle, bang, clears him out. What do you really expect? Even if you win the tackle, so what? You won the ball in the middle of the field. Not much is going to happen from it. It was pretty much just him not thinking. Because there was no reason to do that tackle. And I mean, mental health is incredibly important. Always know that you could speak to someone. I mean, especially for men, because men don't like to talk about stuff like that. But for Araujo, it's just got to be a lot better on the field, because clearly he's letting what's going on the field affect him off the field. And hopefully he's all good. But on the field, unfortunately, he's not been.
Yep. Just going off what Gabe said, like since our lack of center back depth, this was supposed to be his year to cement his starting spot next to Cabarsi for the next couple of years, especially with us recklessly selling Inigo Martinez for free.
Well, he wanted to leave.
Yeah, we should have replaced him, even if it's just budget. And just this was his year, and he's just been reckless just for the past couple of years. The PSG mistake, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He bumped into Barcola. It wasn't smart, but it wasn't rash like the challenge against Chelsea. He just went flying in. Cucurella knocks it by him. It's a terrible touch. Kubarsi's covering, Koundé's covering, and just there was no need to just dive in like that. As you said, he just wasn't thinking, but hopefully he's doing okay. If it means that he has to leave Barcelona for a fresh start to get his mental health in order, then so be it. But I don't know if he can stay here for the next couple years if this is affecting him mentally like this.
Oh, yeah. Also, breaking news, Mikel Merino just scored for Arsenal. I was thinking about getting him in fantasy, but I was like, I don't know if he's going to play because Gyökeres is back. What a bozo I am. So yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, hopefully they're playing Brentford, right? Hopefully Nathan Collins is something for me in that. But we could talk about stuff like that later. So we're kind of going to move on from La Liga there. Barcelona, that was a poor performance, but they're doing much better in La Liga. Rafinha coming back is a big help overall, and Danny Olmo was picking up form, but he got injured, which is a shame for him. So we'll see.
The Danny Olmo cycle continues.
Yeah. But back to the Premier League, we can kind of go over. We're going to go over the weekend's fixtures. Um, not the singer or not the guy who plays on club soccer, but the day of the week. Yeah. So the games that happened over the weekend, we did have Brentford beating Burnley. Brentford at home, they're good. No surprise really there. City played against Leeds, which took a last-minute Phil Foden goal to win the game, and that was just a great first half from City. Uh, and I don't know what happened in the second half. The second half, Leeds start pressing and City start crumbling. I mean, an insane mistake from Mateus Nunes, and Vardiol then gave away a penalty. So it looked like it was going to be that's it to the Premier League for Manchester City. That's it for the title race because you can't draw at home to Leeds. But Phil Foden stepped up like he's done many times in the past before, and a huge moment. He scored 2 goals that game, an incredible goal from him. And in reality, Phil Foden's back to his best form. Many people said he'd never get back to his best level. I always knew he would because you don't have that talent and it just disappears. Phil Foden's a talented player. He's had many, many great seasons from a young age before. I mean, he was 20 on the same stage as Neymar and Mbappe in a Champions League semifinal. And he put in a man-of-the-match performance against PSG to help Man City get to a Champions League final at the age of 20. That shows character, and just one bad year from him, I always knew that wasn't going to change everything.
The one thing I will say involving Man City is that this year they've been kind of showing a weakness to the press where whenever they get ran up on in leading scenarios, they tend to kind of crumble. We saw it versus Leeds. We saw it versus Fulham yesterday, where whenever they get up and have to defend a lead, they start getting nervous. They start making mistakes. And granted, a lot of them are avoidable or some of them are just pure coincidence. But even still, for a team with City's quality, you can't really afford to be crumbling under the press, especially for a team coached by Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
That usually doesn't happen for
Yeah.
his teams.
I mean, the thing that's going on at the moment is we could talk about the Fulham game just quickly. Incredible game, 5-4 to City. The guy on my back of my shirt right now, Erling Haaland, broke the Premier League record for fastest to 100 goals. Congratulations to Erling Haaland, the best striker in the world. That was quite the achievement, record-breaking as he normally is. So he scored. I think he hit the post twice, one with a one-on-one opportunity, and then one in, I think it was a header. It was a header in the second half. But yeah, City went up 3-1, and genuinely, I think that was one of the best half performances I've seen from City this season. They were incredible. They were moving the ball quickly. The tempo of passing was really good. Players such as Foden, Tijani Reinders, Holland, Doku were all interchanging really good. It was a great performance. And then Smith Rowe scores right before halftime with an incredible header, by the way. There's nothing Donnarumma could do about that. And it's like, oh, maybe the game isn't over. But the second half starts, and City scored 2 goals. Foden scores another with his right. Well, Doku scores from a huge deflection. Actually, I think I put it down as an own goal. Either way, I don't really care. A goal is a goal. But 5-1, and everyone's like, wow, this Manchester City could be back. They could be going for the Premier League. This is a huge, huge performance, which it was a huge performance. And then the crumble started to happen. 5-2, 5-3, 5-4 with 15 minutes left to go. And me sitting there watching the game, I just knew. We were going to concede. I knew we weren't going to be able to hold on. But by somehow, some way, we did. And just genuinely made a couple substitutions, took off players that kind of give City that control of the game. And you could tell because Fulham were just pressing, fast pace. With City now, currently at this moment, I mean, when you have the best ball playing goalkeeper in the world, Ederson, in previous times, who could pick a pass from anywhere, it's difficult to step up. But you also have players such as Mateus Nunes at right back, who's not necessarily a great possession player out the back. And Nico O'Reilly's good, yes, but he's also one-footed, which kind of limits the passing angles he can play to from out the back. And Ruben Diaz is also not a fantastic ball player out the back. He's good, but he's not fantastic, which kind of leaves Vardiol as your main passer out the back compared to in previous years when you've had one of the best players at it in John Stones. Other players who were really good, like Akanji, fair play to him. So, yeah, and then Rodri, which is a huge factor. So that's why City were kind of untouchable to go and press, but now it's not necessarily the same. So these teams are just going high intensity, high energy, stepping on City and really giving it to them. And that's why Fulham almost made an incredible comeback. But at the same time, that's like one of the craziest games I've seen because everything felt like it was going in. I mean, Chukwueze was in flow state. All of his shots were hitting the back of the net. Iwobi scored a great finish. And I'm like, wow, we were not going to hold on. I'm like going to start crying, just like Gabe every time Bilbao plays. But yeah, I was like, wow. But somehow City got the 3 points. But yeah, 2 games, 2 very different wins. But at the same time, a lot of concerns from both.
Yeah, Adrian's prediction almost came true. Fulham almost brought Killian to tears. It wasn't Iwobi or Emil Smith-Rowe. It was actually Chukwueze, as you mentioned.
It was both Iwobi and Smith-Rowe scored.
Yes, but that was early in the game. That wasn't
well, they did still score.
It wasn't the chaos moment. And then you briefly mentioned Kevin 2 weeks ago. You mentioned how Fulham's record signing Kevin would cause some issues, and he was causing your right hand side issues yesterday. He almost assisted the game-winning goal. And but Gavardio, as you mentioned, just cleared it off the line and saved you guys.
Oh no, I wasn't even thinking about that one. No, he went down the line, he cut back with his left and just went straight through everyone. That was a really good bit of play from him. But City made some smart substitutions. I mean, they brought in Ryan Shirky, who really killed the game. I mean, he just kept possession. When they tried to step to him, he'd kind of fake a pass and then just turn the other way. It's just slowing the game down. It was really important. Bernardo Silva also did it really good. So those type of players, they're really important to have when you want to just kill a game off. So in the end, 3 points is all that's really going to matter. And City were 2 points off Arsenal, but now Arsenal are playing. So it'll be back to 5. 5 points is doable. Will it happen? I don't think so. But hey, I'm never going to count out this team and this manager. So we will see. But Arsenal, did they score again? Or what's the story?
The live update is that Mo Salah has been benched again.
Really? I mean, they're going to have to get ready for it because he's not going to play for the next month because he's going to be playing for Egypt. But
we have an exact quote from Artis Schlott. I think it's clear that we need more than 11 players tonight about benching Salah. So,
well, I thought usually when they say more than 11, they kind of mean like the fans.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that means regarding Salah. Maybe that means he hasn't been up to par. I don't really know. But
well, he hasn't been, but
he hasn't.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, age catches up to everyone eventually. Maybe that's the reason. Who knows? Oh, Brighton are actually beating Villa 2-0 right now as we speak too. But other games throughout the weekend were Sunderland versus Bournemouth, which was quite the crazy game. 3-2. Sunderland on great form, winning a lot of games. Newcastle destroyed Everton. Nick Voltamata scored, I think. Chow scored 2. Lewis Miley scored, the young guy from Newcastle Academy. Yeah. Newcastle, their form is picked up. I mean, they beat City. They could have beat Tottenham last night. They were very close. I mean, Cuti Romero scored 2 goals, one of them being a bicycle kick, which I don't know how it went in. So
Ramsdale's got to do better there.
Yeah. So Newcastle, they've got better form now, but they're also doing good in the Champions League. They should have beat Marseille if it wasn't for another goalkeeper mistake, a different goalkeeper though. So yeah,
Tierno Barry almost broke his deadlock against Newcastle.
Tierno Barry. We almost forgot to mention Tierno Barry.
Absolutely outrageous that they called that a handball, but it's fine. He scuffed the ball, so he needs to score a better goal to break the deadlock. They understood the mission.
No, it's not. It's Tierno Barry will not score. It doesn't matter. It's because Beto has to score first.
They're having a proper mid off.
No, Beto, you will do it, Beto. I know you watch the show every week. We believe in you, Beto. We do.
This is just like by far the worst argument I think I've ever seen in like footballing history.
No, that would be Nico Williams, who's the best left winger in the world.
All right, bro.
That would be like saying Bilbao was going to win the Europa League. That would be like Bilbao
We
saying
came
they're going to
close
win
that
any big
year.
game.
United.
We came close that year.
No, that word does not. Actually, let's talk about United because they played against Everton 2 weeks ago and they lost, and Everton had a red card because
Idrissa Gana Gay slapped his own teammate.
his teammate. But yeah,
Warranted crash out though. Keane just watched the ball.
yeah, but like a red card for fighting your own teammate is kind of insane.
Kind of crazy.
It was pretty funny, but somehow United still didn't win that game, which is why I absolutely love it. Yeah, United keep losing, which I love, but sadly they didn't because they beat Crystal Palace the other day, which is honestly fair play. That's a good result.
How they managed to beat Crystal Palace but not Everton while being up a man is kind of mind-boggling. But then again, so is the average Man United experience.
No, it's because Man United can't beat a team when they have the ball. They can't.
Yep.
They have low to mid blocks, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, Mason Mount finally scored for the first time in a long time, a long time. But yeah, crazy. And also Xerxes, yes, Xerxes scored. Who would have thought Mason Mount and Xerxes both scoring in the same game? Maybe miracles do come true.
I've always
So
kind of thought
quite
that I've always kind of thought that Xerxes was super underrated. It just happens to be the system in which Man United plays. It does not suit him at all.
he also just he's really slow.
That's
like
the other thing.
that's why Serie A worked good for him, because like the speed of the league is slower. In the Premier League, he doesn't have to like he's got a good touch and he can dribble, but like as soon as he takes 2 touches, any person on earth is catching up to it because he's so slow on the moving the ball. And his finishing isn't necessarily something great. So it's just kind of like you can see that there's something there. It's just not necessarily fit for the Premier League. But yep, he scored. So big up Joshua Xerxes. Fair play to him. Yeah, good win for United. Pretty good win for them. Can't even hate it because Crystal Palace at Sellers Park is not an easy place to go. Wolves lost again. Wolves are going down. They might beat the record for the worst ever Premier League team. So are Wolves playing right now? Because I'd love to see if they are. Oh, no, they are playing right now, and they're drawing at home to Nottingham Forest. They're going to lose. And if they don't, then I'd be shocked because Wolves, some people are good at things in life, and Wolves seem to be very good at losing. So big up to them for that. Any other big games to talk about from over the weekend? I think I went through
about the Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yep, I just saw them there. They got a draw. Tottenham drew to Newcastle, which they just about did. And then they lost at home to Fulham. And there was a lot of outrage over that because Vicario had a bozo moment where you just pretty much just handed him a free goal, if we're going to be completely honest. And Tottenham, I saw someone say on TikTok that if you're a season ticket holder, because the season ticket costs $1,000 to be a Tottenham season ticket holder, which means you can go to all the Tottenham home games, that you'd be paying currently $750 per Tottenham home win to go see them. You'd be paying $750 to see Tottenham win if you're a season ticket holder, based off of how they're playing at home and the amount of wins they have at their home games, which is absolute insanity. But yeah, they're just being really, really bad at home. Kind of a similar situation to the fact that United at home have to play with possession more, and it's not really suiting them, kind of like Tottenham too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people were like, that's it. I'm done with Thomas Frank. He's not going to turn around. We'll see. It's a different avenue than Thomas Frank's going to have to navigate, being the fact that Tottenham's a bigger size club to anything he's had before, like a Brentford. But at the same time, I still think he's a good manager. Might just be the curse of the Tottenham. It is the history of the Tottenham.
I still think they shouldn't have fired Ange after winning the Europa League.
I don't know. I don't know if they should have fired him. Yeah, but I don't think he was going to bring them anywhere. I don't think he was going to necessarily fix anything. I mean, they finished 17th in the Premier League, which is ridiculous. Um, but yeah, I don't think Ange was going to get them in the champion. I don't think they would have got top four. That's where Tottenham need to be aiming to go. And I definitely don't think Ange would have done that. But Frank probably won't also. So we'll see what happens with Tottenham if they end up firing Frank. Who knows? By the next episode, he could be gone. So we will see. Or they could have a good run of form. We really don't know.
Just going off like the weekend Tottenham game, yeah, Vicario did have a bozo moment, but it was also questionable how none of the defenders tried to defend the goal. So it just shows like a lack of mentality and just lack of just being a game awareness coming from Tottenham. Even in their Champions League game against PSG, somehow that at halftime that game was 1-1, and then they proceeded to forget how to defend, and the game ended 5-3. It's just it's kind of crazy what just happened.
I spoke into existence. Wolves conceded.
Well, Wolves are going down, but as you mentioned, just Frank is under a lot of pressure right now.
Ollie Watkins has scored.
What is that, like 14 games?
About
He's
time,
done
honestly.
it.
But just Frank is under a lot of pressure right now. I agree with Gabe. They probably shouldn't have fired Ange. I don't think Ange was going to bring them anywhere. I think Ange should have at least got the beginning of the season. And then if he started as poorly as he ended last season, then he probably should have been fired. But you can't have a dressing room on a high like that and immediately just deflate them with a new manager, learn a new philosophy and everything. But as you mentioned, Tottenham's not very good with the ball. They don't have the ball playing capabilities of breaking down teams like that. And as you can see, it's hurting them right now. But just very inconsistent team. Maybe it could be the fact that they are defending so deep. They went from playing the highest line in the league under Ange to pretty much sitting back with the ball. And as you could see, they're conceding more under Frank than under Ange. Like I said, Ange would lose games, but it would usually end 1 or 2-0. But now under Frank, it's usually 3+ goals, which is kind of crazy.
No, under Ange, they got some batterings. They really did get some batterings. So I don't know if that's necessarily too true. I mean, under Ange, they were very, very. I think the problem with Frank more so is just the creativity on the ball. And the problem with Ange was just how vulnerable they were off the ball. So I do think it's two issues, but the problem with Tottenham is balancing the two of them. So we'll see what happens if they'll be able to fix that. I really don't know. I really don't know. It's an issue. It's an issue. But other Premier League teams / games, Aston Villa have been on a very good run of form, but they are currently losing 2-1 to Brighton, which I did mention Ollie Watkins scored, maybe a little turnaround. It's going to be halftime soon, so there's still time left in that game. We will see how that goes because Villa are on a good run of form. And Chelsea will play Leeds soon. That's away from home. And then Liverpool will play Sunderland within the next hour that will start. So that's going to be an interesting game. You know, not both. Sunderland's on a great run of form, and Liverpool, they've been struggling. So if Sunderland want to, they could probably take the game to them, try and go for a win. But who knows? Maybe Liverpool, they'll put on a good performance. We will really have to see. But I think that's mainly it. I don't know if there's too much we still need to mention. I think we've kind of covered all the grounds, but we can kind of end off the episode, end off the first half of the show being the end of the semester with kind of what we think is going to happen for the rest of the year. So Premier League, if you had to say the team that's going to win the Premier League right at this moment, who are you saying?
I would have to go with Arsenal just because their defensive presence is just too much for any team to really overcome at the moment. Even with the injuries to Saliba and Gabriel, if they come back healthy, which they most
Saliba's
definitely
back
will.
soon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Realistically, I don't see anybody beating them.
Yeah, Arsenal. This is Arsenal's year. If they somehow find a way to mess it up, it fits right in with how they normally do things, but it has to be this year.
I'm going to say
as he then proceeds to not say anything.
the mind says one thing and the heart says another. But yeah, no, I think the mind's telling me Arsenal, but the heart's telling me Manchester City right here. I don't know. I can't ever count these boys out, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Arsenal, will they drop that much points? Will they even concede enough goals for it to happen? I probably don't think so if we're being rational. But the thing with football is rationality doesn't mean everything. And there's a lot of inevitability. There's a lot of unpredictability in the sport. So we will see. Only time will tell about all that. But thank you guys for being on the show. This has been the first semester of the Killian's Plastics Talk Football Tactics show. And I really appreciate you guys for watching. And we'll be back next semester and we will see what happens because we might have new guests on the show. School schedules will be different. So who knows? A lot of new comings, a lot of changes. But one thing will stay the same, and that's football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. Still the same game. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching, and peace. Catch you guys.